one of our favorite segments now. I think we've done this the last couple of weeks, but some of the freshman standouts, and I think the guys making the biggest impact across the country. There was a guy from the state of Florida that I think, Drew, kind of surprised you with the level of production that he's had in the Big Ten so far at Illinois, playing for Brett Bielema. Tell us what you think with your first pick here.
Yeah, Gabe Johnson, I was watching the Illinois-Minnesota game. You had heard and seen, and we're seeing it right here, this big sack he had on a third down. I mean, he is graded out, according to PFF, as one of the top true freshmen in the country. And he's someone that I had a chance to see play on Friday nights. He's at Fort Pierce Central High School, converted offensive lineman. But the thing that stands out about Gabe and his profile is the fact that he was a two-time state champion wrestler. We always talk about wrestling and multi-sport background and how that applies to it. He's a guy that knows how to use his hands, knows how to shift his weight, knows how to win with leverage. So it's nice to see him, making plays. And he's a guy that I'm probably going to wish we had higher in the rankings. He's someone that watched the senior tape, wanted to move him up, but it was like, why is Illinois the only one that's on him? And I think Brett Bielema and his staff made a very, very good evaluation and one of the lighter recruited parts of the Sunshine State. So tip of the cap to them. Excited for Gabe's future.
It shows you how deep the state is. And for us, this segment, I think we like to use it as a segment to kind of say, okay, self-scouting report for us. Who are some guys that maybe we got a little bit too in the weeds on? And Drew, I know you just gave your pick. I'm going to go with Quinshawn Junkins out of the state of Alabama, a guy that there was a lot of conversation about coming out of high school, a guy that we did a lot of extensive homework on. And the biggest question mark for me coming out was the top end speed. I can tell you right now, that was a mistake. This guy has been a bona fide dude for Lane Kiffin from day one in Oxford. Top 12 in the country in rushing, and that's in the backfield with Zach Evans, a former five-star recruit. The job that he's done, the patience, the vision, his feel for the game at the position, the contact balance, he is a perfect fit for what Lane Kiffin wants to do in that offense. And I can tell you right now, we had him as a number 87 overall in terms of the grade, a 3-star grade. That was a mistake. So Quinshawn Junkins, I apologize to you, my friend. Congratulations on your early success, and I look forward to him keeping that up. But Drew, you got another guy from the state of Florida, ironically enough. And Drew, we really like this guy. He's super versatile defensive back out of American Heritage who just seems to breed defensive backs, but that is Jacoby Spells out of West Virginia.
Yeah, I can't remember which fan base at some point during last cycle gave us a bunch of junk for having this kid in the top 247. Well, he's at West Virginia. He's playing as a true freshman, and he's making big-time plays. He had a pick six to seal a game a few weeks ago. And then this past Thursday in the win over Baylor, he really sparked that come-from-behind victory. You see him right there returning a blocked extra point for 2 points. He also recovered a fumble in the game. And I always say, Cooper, if you're going to bet on a defensive back, bet on one from American Heritage Plantation, because normally they pan out. Tyson Campbell, Pat Surtain, Jacoby Spells, the latest one that's getting it done on Saturdays or Thursdays or whatever night of the week that he is playing. No, this is a kid we liked. We liked his profile. We liked how he moved, sub 11 in the 100-meter dash, and he's a former wide receiver, so he has ball skills from being on that side of the ball. He checked off a ton of our boxes. Not surprised that he's out there making plays for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, tough, physical dude, versatile. You mentioned the sub 1100 meter. He was just a football player. That's what stuck out the most. I loved the fit of him going up to Morgantown, playing in West Virginia, having the ability to play early there, and you've already seen the production as well. Drew, I'm going to go out west, and I'm going to go to a guy that was very highly debated on the West Coast. That is Tmac McMillan, the guy they call Tmac, and wow, did he have a game this weekend against Washington. 7 receptions for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Arizona lost in a shootout on the road in Seattle, 39-49, but the future is bright there. I really love some of the pieces that Jed Fish is adding to his offense. You see Arizona more competitive in these games that they haven't been in the past. I think this guy has such a bright future. The conversation surrounding him was more on the top end speed as well. That's kind of why he ended up outside of the top 32. Some of the comparisons there were a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside who played his ball at Stanford. So I love the potential there at the position for Tmac, and I think is a guy that's going to continue to turn heads. He's very well polished. We're seeing that right now with his ability to make plays early in Arizona. But Drew, you're going to end. Guess what? I think he just went 3 for 3 in the state of Florida. What a surprise there. But Nigel Lee Kelly, and I know Miami Hurricanes fans are really excited about this dude.
Oh, I want to point out with Tmac, he's got a volleyball background. You can't leave that out when you're scouting Mr. Tmac. No, Nigel Lee Kelly. And really, Miami played a ton of true freshmen in that win at Virginia Tech. We saw my guy, Ja'Curry Brown, the quarterback. He get in there for a few Wildcat packages. Jaleel Skinner, the former top 247 tight end. He caught a pair of passes. I remember when people said he couldn't catch. But Nigel Lee Kelly, I think this is a guy that you're going to hear his name and see him be more part of the rotation as the season progresses. He's got 2 sacks. He had half a sack this past weekend in that win on the road, and he's only getting about 20 snaps a game, but he's everything, Cooper, that I think we thought he would be in terms of providing that burst and that presence off the edge, Nigel Lee. So he's trending in the right direction, which is always encouraging. And when Mario Cristobal took over and replaced Manny Diaz, I mean, Nigel Lee was the first kid he saw out on the road that night. He was that much of a priority. And I'll maintain this. I've always said if Mario had stayed at Oregon, I think Nigel Lee would have ended up in Eugene. So nice get. And I think he's someone that you're going to be hearing more and more about as the season progresses.
Oyster boys keep receipts. Don't get feisty with Drew right now. Who reminds you what you missed on. But Drew, the last guy I got here, a guy that we were really high on throughout the process, Antonio Williams. And I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised with the level of production that he's had so early at Clemson, the receiver from the state of South Carolina. But a big game this past weekend in Tallahassee where they needed him. Drew, 2 receptions, 76 yards, and a tutty for Antonio Williams. This is a guy that just plays the game the right way. He can play inside out. He is very sudden, one of the most natural route runners in last year's cycle. I think a guy that not only is oozing with physical talent, he plays the game the right way, understands leverage, understands how to attack it, and understands how to get open. A very dependable receiver, and I think a guy that's going to be a very friendly target for Cade Klubnik in the future. We're already seeing that right now with DJU. So there you have it. The freshman impact this season, certainly a segment that we are enjoying. We will be doing more of that on Mondays going forward.